Hi, this is Charlie giving you Monday's video, and I hope you're very well. I've titled today's video The Dark Side of Trading because it's something I want to talk about and discuss, which is basically to do with overgearing and use of too wider stops or no stops whatsoever. So when I say too wider stops, sometimes traders will try to put stops in which are so wide that they're never going to get any risk to reward based on their trades, or good quality risk to reward. And if they were to get stopped out based on those such wide stops, that it would put them way beyond what there should be their risk parameters. So that's what I mean by too wide a stop. You can have a wide stop and just have a small position size, and that's absolutely fine because then your risk management's fine. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about overgearing, and either overgearing or being in a position with too wide a stop, which means that your risk balance is way out of kilter. So let's go through an example here, and this is the sort of thing that happens every day of the year, all around the world. Traders are doing this sort of thing. So let's say, for argument's sake, cables I'll use cable as an example because it's a topical currency at the moment, obviously with the whole Brexit affair and news and stuff. So let's say a cable, I don't know, a trader, let's say after these 3 day up days here, a trader decides that they think that cable's going to go up, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with anyone having a view either way on the market at any time. There's no right or wrong there. But what they do is they get into a position up here, but they decide to not put a stop loss in. Now maybe they don't put a stop loss in because they've had a number of other trades over the prior few months, and they've just been doing really well. They've had a really good run, and so they become a little bit overconfident. So it becomes like this cauldron, this recipe for disaster. What happens here? So one is that they've had a great run and maybe become overconfident. That overconfidence then breeds into doing things, taking risks that they may have not otherwise done previously. So they decide, actually, I'm not going to put a stop loss in here because I'm so confident this is going to turn up. Even if it comes down a little bit against me, I think it's still going to then turn up from there. So I won't bother putting a stop loss in. So they do that, plus they usually, often at this point, they increase their position size because of that overconfidence. So they do a few things all together, and then what happens is the market comes down a bit. They're still confident at this point. They're thinking, okay, all right, I know I'm in with bigger position size, but this thing's still going to come back up for me. Then it has this big drop down. Then they're thinking, oh dear, this isn't looking quite so good now. Oh, I don't know what to do. And they become like a deer in the headlines. So they don't know what to do. They bury their head in the sand, and then the following day it comes down again, and then they're really in trouble now. They're now a huge amount down relative to the overall size of their trading account, and then they really are in trouble. They don't know what to do, and one or two things are going to happen. They are either going to decide eventually to close out for a huge loss, or it may be that they don't have a choice in the matter and they get a margin call if they are losing so much. And it's this sort of thing that happens all around the world. Every day, every single day of the week, there will be traders who will have such strong views on things or decide not to use stop losses and overgear because they're so confident they're going to make a load of money, and then this happens. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of traders who get away with it as well, and they do make a load of money, but I can guarantee to you as well that will be temporary, because it'll only be the next trade where they'll try that again, and then they'll go back and wipe out all of their account anyway. So it really makes no difference if a trader gets lucky or not. It will come back to get them unless they got so lucky that they learn from that and they never do it again. But it's very rare that happens. If a trader's like that, then they're usually until they've learned the lesson, it's likely that they will do it again at some point. Okay, so that's the dark side of trading, and that is not using stop losses and disrespecting the risk parameters. And don't ever think that you are better than anybody else or you are better than the markets, because when you get to that stage, then you really are susceptible and vulnerable and to this sort of thing happening. And so just accept that you have to manage risk. you have to look after and protect your capital as much as you can. You have to accept you're going to have losses, and that's fine, but accept having losses. For the greater good, you'll do much better. Whereas I get feedback from all sorts of traders all around the world, and stories of this kind of thing happening all the time, and obviously we don't want to hear that. So the more people that we can encourage to respect doing this sort of thing and using stop losses and not over gearing, then the better, and it's better for everybody. Right. Okay. So that's the dark side of trading, and that's the side where it's those small percentage of traders who end up just blowing out their accounts and becoming a statistic. But for now, let's have a look at these markets. I won't do too much because I know Kim does some analysis. So yeah, cable, as I've got cable up. Yes, it's obviously it's all in the headlines at the moment. Trend remains down. It's down again today, as we can see at the moment. This is the daily chart I've got up at the moment. So, but I do think that if cable could have an up day today, then it might create a little bit of relief if it was to close back inside my bands, maybe in the mid 139s. If it got a decent close, then we could see a run back up towards these prior lows up in this range here. So the prior lows from sort of January area, so up around about 141 or so. But I wouldn't be expecting much more beyond that, because if we get up to there, then that could be a point to then where you're going to get a load of sellers coming back in, and then it pushes it back down again. But for now, yes, if cable does that, but obviously the trend remains down, and cable could just have another big down day today again. So we'll have to see. So, but that's all I've got to say about cable at the moment. Trend remains down, but if it was to have a strong close and for whatever reason a bit of a relief rally today, could have a little bit more to come up and retest these prior lows. Other than that, I shall leave you to it. Have a good week. I'll be back on Friday.